good, everybody? It's your boy Todd Smith here, yet once again, alongside my tag team partner, Dale Clifford. Dale, who's been flying solo for the past 2 episodes. Dale, reunited, and it feels so good. What's good, my man?
A lot, Todd. Obviously, as you said, going solo the last 2 weeks. I had to do a Good, Bad, Ugly for Hell in a Cell, so I hope you guys go check that one out. And then, obviously, I took part in unboxing WWE's first Slam Crate. And that's probably been our most productive episode. So for those of you that have watched that and subscribed to our channel because of it, thank you for doing that. And if you're just checking this out, please go watch that and obviously subscribe to us. But as we get going forward for this week's episode, we're looking back on the month of October and its top matches.
Mm-hmm. Yes, plenty of good action over the past month. And we lead it off with DJZ taking on Trevor Lee for the X Division title at Bound for Glory. This was the opening bout for Bound for Glory 2016. A couple of the highlights from that match. We had Trevor Lee hitting that sick rolling power slam in midair on DJZ. Now, if you've never seen this move executed before, it is one of the coolest looking moves if it's executed fluidly, where basically 2 guys collide in midair, and one of them literally almost does like a flipping power slam onto the other. And I think the first person I ever saw deliver this move was I want to say it was Hiroshi Tanahashi over New Japan. But Trevor Lee, yeah, he could deliver that just as well. Also, we got to see a sick looking spiked reverse Hurricane Rana that DJZ hit Trevor Lee with. As you all know, DJZ hit the ZDT. That's the name of that cool looking rolling thunder, like popularized by Rob Van Dam, the rolling thunder maneuver, into a DDT for the finish. DJZ held on to the X Division title, and now we're gonna move on to Eddie Edwards versus Cody Rhodes, which took place on Impact Wrestling. This was for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Lots of back and forth action in this one. Cody showing off a new move or two from his arsenal, including a muscle buster, which we had never seen him deliver before. I don't know if he was kind of like, paying a little homage to Samoa Joe, who made that move very famous while he was over there in TNA. There was a superplex, basically, where both men were left prone, and Eddie Edwards was able to steal the win via the roll-up. Eddie shows Cody a little bit of a sign of respect as he leaves him in the ring to have his moment. Dale, what's your takeaway from this match, man?
It was just a good one to see that Cody immediately got a chance to make an impact, pun intended, I guess you could say, in getting a championship match with Eddie Edwards, and I think both men brought out the best in each other. Obviously, kind of just knowing that it didn't feel like Cody Rhodes was going to have a long stay in Impact Wrestling, you kind of knew that Eddie Edwards was ultimately going to go over in this thing. But
right.
And definitely, as you said, we saw some new things from Cody Rhodes, which might have been he was a little bit held back in WWE, especially with the Muscle Buster at the time when he was Stardust. No way he was using that because Samoa Joe's at NXT. Can't show off that move by somebody else.
Exactly. And it's really a shame. Like I said, he was really saddled by that gimmick. I really like what TNA is doing with Cody right now, how they're letting him be himself. I mean, the only thing that's the downside of it, he doesn't get to use the last name Rhodes, but his wife does, since his last name was actually trademarked by the WWE. But yeah. So, moving on here, we have the Cabinet versus the Top Prospect team, which was comprised of Leo St. Giovanni, Jason Kincaid, and Shaheem Ali from ROH TV. All 3 of these guys who were part of the Top Prospect team basically were involved in the ROH Top Prospect tournament at one time or another. Basically, as the way things go, these 3 have maintained a strong friendship throughout the process. Actually, 2 of them, Shaheem Ali and Leon St. Giovanni, actually trained together at the Monster Factory. We saw the Cabinet kneeling down during the Code of Honor via Colin Kaepernick from the 49ers. A team that you and I are both fans of, Dale, who are having a very rough season, by the way. And lots of high-flying action in this contest. So what's your takeaway from this one, Dale?
Biggest thing I got from this one was the triple drop kick onto Titus in the corner, onto Rhett Titus in the corner, where two of them did the coast to coast, and then you had one of them come across the ring. I just thought that was probably the highlight of the match, was that triple drop kick to Rhett Titus in the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a cool looking spot there.
Kind of a unique pairing to see LSG, Jason Kincaid, and Shaheem Ali, just because really LSG and Shaheem Ali, they kind of look like they would be a tag team, and then there's Jason Kincaid, who kind of definitely doesn't fit, but all three of those guys can definitely go, and it just looks like it's a bright future for ROH, because definitely top prospects for sure with these three.
Yeah, with me referencing the whole, the members of the cabinet kneeling down, the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, what he has going on in the NFL right now, doesn't Jason Kincaid look like he could be the Minnesota Vikings mascot?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
A miniature version of him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a unique look for him. Definitely sticks out like a sore thumb from the other two in the group, Leon St. Giovanni and Shaheem Ali. But as we know, Kaepernick gets a win via Caprice Coleman's Sky Splitter finisher. Also staying here in Ring of Honor, another outstanding showing by four of the biggest men in professional wrestling. War Machine, comprised of Rowe and Hanson, taking on the newly named tag team of the Pretty Boy Killers. So that's what they're now referring to, these two behemoths, Shane Taylor and Keith Lee. So a wild brawl ensued outside the ring prior to the official start of the match inside of the ring. Incredible shows of athleticism. Like I said, we saw a somersault plancha from Shane Taylor. Now, when you and I were wrestling, Dale, as you all know this, you already know this, I meant to say, I had struggles with doing a drop kick. Okay? Now, I'm about 6'2". I probably went about 275 pounds when I was wrestling. This guy's got to be about well over 300 pounds, maybe somewhere around the 330, 340 range. Someone his size should not be able to execute a somersault plancha to the outside of the ring. We also saw a missed moonsault attempt by Keith Lee, another huge guy, way athletic for his size. And then we got a Canadian Destroyer out of Rowe. Rowe gets the win for War Machine, and then we all know that there was a quite a bit of a post-match attack where Shane Taylor especially, he laid out the members of War Machine with some chairs post-match. What's your take on this, Dale?
Yeah, I just kind of liked the fact that you got four big boys, three really big boys, especially with Hanson, Shane Taylor, and Keith Lee. Rowe being the smallest of the four, and he's still not a small guy. But as you were saying, you got a somersault plancha, a moonsault, a top rope cross body from Hanson. It's like these are boys that shouldn't be coming off the top rope with ease like they are, and they are just absolutely showing off great athleticism. That's why you just feel like this just wasn't a big boy brawl. This was a big boy brawl with cruiserweight like moves of sorts from four big guys. So that's why this match had to make our countdown.
Without question. Moving on over to NXT, we had a match from round one of the Dusty Rhodes Classic, the tag team tournament that they have going on. We had Andrade Cien Almas and Cedric Alexander pairing up to take on the Revival. So Cedric Alexander continues to dazzle the NXT crowd with all of his high-flying prowess on a week-to-week basis. One of the cool spots that I remember from that match was when Cien Almas kind of like did this little thing where he made himself comfy between the middle rope and the top rope as Cedric Alexander runs from the opposite side of the ring and launches himself with a plancha and goes airborne into both of the members of the Revival outside the ring. The Revival captured a win via the Shatter Machine, and as we all know, Andrade almost turned heel and betrayed Cedric Alexander post-match. Dale, what's your thoughts on this one?
I think you kind of hit on what was the big spot there. I love that when Cien does that move, when kind of grabs into the middle ropes there, kind of does that little stall. We've seen that a little bit from TJ Perkins, too. I don't know if he's still doing it in WWE, but I knew he did it back in Impact Wrestling when he was Manic and Suicide.
He did.
So
He did.
All right. So, yeah, we've seen that before, and obviously Cedric can fly. Absolutely beautiful planche outside to take out the Revival. And you kind of figured that the Revival were going to move on. You can't have the NXT Tag Team Champions lose in the first round of a tag team tournament. And then
no way.
And then it kind of just spins off being able to have CN turn heel on Cedric and advance them going forward.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that feud, too. Those guys... I actually think they have fairly good chemistry as a tag team, so I think they're going to show us some good stuff, when they go head-to-head in the upcoming weeks here on NXT. So we're going to jump on over to Lucha Underground, one of our favorite weekly programs, and currently there's a series of matches taking place between, they call him Cage, and Tejano. So in this match, match 2 of the Best of 5 series, Tejano... is probably one of the more evenly matched opponents for Cage, in terms of size, in terms of ferocity and whatnot. Cage, another big man, that can go. This guy has some amazing agility for a big man. He actually hit a tornado DDT and a springboard moonsault during this match. Cage actually went over Tejano with the F5. Dale, what can you add to this one?
I just think... obviously, we're now advanced into 3 matches total into the series. We thought match 2 was the best one. I just kind of think that one showcased the most in-ring wrestling ability from it. Match 3 kind of dabbled a little bit in going outside the ring and kind of throwing around the stairs and into the barricades and stuff like that. But I just kind of look at this series as like all 3 matches have been pretty good. I think match 2 was the best one of the bunch, and I kind of relate the Best of 5 series for Lucha Underground to that of the Best of 7 series from Sheamus and Cesaro, where really you could pick one of the matches from the series and you could kind of put it into this list. Yes. But when you have 3 to choose from, you got to pick one, and I just think match 2 ultimately it delivered a little bit more from the 3 so far that they've had, and obviously it's 2-1, and we'll have 2 more as we go into November to look forward to, or maybe 2 more. We'll see. At least one more.
One thing for sure is, for some reason, when this is all said and done between these 2, I don't see Cage and Tejano being made a tag team by Dario Cueto, a la what Mick Foley did with Cesaro and Sheamus over there in WWE. So this feud at least has that much going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely see that, but I definitely believe Dario has some not so good plans for the winner of this series.
Dario, of course, is going to have his usual deviousness that he's going to be up to. Sticking to Lucha Underground here, we have the Monster Matanza Cueto, who took on Prince Puma, Dario's Dollar Doom, and this was for the Lucha Underground heavyweight title. This match showed off some of Matanza's brutality and his power versus Puma's speed and athleticism. Puma gave Matanza pretty much all he had. He even almost finished him off with the 630 splash that he does. But who interferes in the match? None other than Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes, got involved, and he actually hit Puma with a spear on Matanza's behalf. And Dario actually allowed for the interference to take place and for Matanza to be victorious with the Wrath of the Gods. Dale, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think you covered all bases there. We definitely saw all the good parts that come with Matanza. He's got some power and athleticism. It's like the power moves that he hits are just so smooth that and fluid that they are just it's just nice to see. It's like, and then obviously Prince Puma, who most know outside of the ring is Ricochet, is just probably one of the best wrestlers in the world going right now. There isn't too much this guy can't do in the ring in terms of athletic awesomeness. So definitely a great match. Obviously Matanza moves forward, and now we're getting set up for another huge clash between Prince Puma and Mil Muertes. That basically it's all on probably considered the biggest feud in Lucha Underground.
And even though this match did not make our countdown for the month of October, I just have to give it a plug anyway, since you referred to Prince Puma as his other persona, as Ricochet. If you have not seen that match between Ricochet and William Ospreay, which took place over in New Japan during, I think it was the Best of Super Juniors tourney from earlier this year. Do yourself a favor and check it out. It is nonstop action. It's very Lucha Underground-esque. That's about the best way I could put it. Final match here that we have from Lucha Underground on the top matches October. We had Phoenix versus Aerostar versus Drago. This was a non-traditional format three-way match here, basically where two of the men were inside the ring and then the other one actually had to sit out on the, or actually you could say was standing out on the apron while the other two were going at it in the ring. One of the more memorable moments that took place during this match, Phoenix got busted open by Aerostar while taking a tornado DDT and blood just sprayed all over the place. He actually broke his nose in the process. Drago hit the rewind Rana on Phoenix. Basically, that's almost like a reverse version of the Canadian Destroyer. And also, Drago basically, by defeating Aerostar and Phoenix, he earns the number 20 spot, giving him an advantage in the Aztec Warfare match, which is coming up for the Lucha Underground Championship. Dale, what do you have to add to this one?
Again, very good spots there picked up. Definitely that kind of reverse Canadian Destroyer, I just thought absolutely was probably the move of the match. And obviously, and then full credit to Phoenix for just being able to continue to absolutely deliver with a busted nose. I always find it great when and kind of fulfilling towards this isn't fake when these guys get injured and they just continue to work through it and finish the match and obviously don't leave it in a disappointing fashion either. Because I hate the knock that professional wrestling gets sometimes from the people that just don't understand it.
Yeah. Sami Zayn is the king of that over in WWE. That guy, I mean, he could pretty much get hit by a Matt truck and he would still get up and finish the match. But yeah, just to tack on to what you had to say, wrestling is not fake. As we all know, there's a lot of theatrics and whatnot that go into a lot of planning that goes into these matches, but the athleticism and the injuries are all real. Me and you know this from our own personal experiences inside the ring. So moving over to the WWE, the women's division here. Charlotte took on Sasha Banks for the women's title on Raw. This was a rematch from their match from SummerSlam. Basically, one of the few times you're actually going to see a main event featuring two female competitors. Sasha actually captures the title by making Charlotte tap out to the Banks statement. Dale, what do you have to say about this one?
You know what? This obviously, I think this one didn't have a stipulation, which Hell in a Cell had. So I really kind of like going to the matches that don't have the stipulations that boost some of the things that they can do. It's like when it's just based on pure in-ring wrestling talent, and then that's what you got from this one. Is it was Charlotte versus Sasha, and it was just them, just trying to tear the roof off the building, and they absolutely did. And then you had the stunning win by Sasha to regain the women's title. But then, unfortunately, as we saw at Hell in a Cell, she lost it again. So that's just a creative decision. I don't like WWE's ability to keep flip-flopping the title back and forth between these two.
I don't either. I don't either.
But I absolutely do love watching these two compete against each other. I think they bring out the best in each other. There's a couple other women in the division that I also believe can bring out the best in their competition. But I think definitely Charlotte and Sasha are the top two in the WWE Women's Division. Maybe the third one might be the NXT Women's Champion at the current moment, but she's not going to be in the main roster anytime soon.
Asuka, Asuka is something else. She is just a buzzsaw. It's interesting because earlier today I was actually flirting around with the idea of asking you if we wanted to possibly remove this match from our top 10, if we wanted to put the match between Sasha and Charlotte from last week at Hell in a Cell on the list instead. And after thinking about it for a little bit, I just said, you know what? I'm kind of in agreement with you. I actually enjoyed this match, the women's title match from Raw, a little bit more. So we're finally making it to the top of the list here. Our top match from the month of October, we have The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler for the IC title at No Mercy 2016. The storyline, coming into this match, it was rumored that this was going to be Dolph's final match in the WWE. There were a lot of people thinking that he would, not go over after putting the career up against the title, the IC title. And as we all know, both guys showed up. They both gave it their all. This was a very well-worked match by both competitors. Definitely some good heel tactics by The Miz, utilizing Mikey and Kenny in particular from the Spirit Squad to do his evil bidding. And then Ziggler was victorious with the super kick. A little bit of an homage to the Heartbreak Kid there. Dale, what's your thoughts on this one?
I absolutely love that this match kind of gets to be number one. Obviously, you know how big of a fan I am of The Miz. I just think that allowing him to be in a match that gets kind of number one for the month of matches is a big deal, because I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does as a worker in the ring. Because obviously everybody knows his mic skills. That's what got him to WWE, is because he's fantastic on the microphone. He came from reality television. He just gets it. But I just don't believe that there's enough people that give him enough credit for his in-ring workability. The dude, yes, was the WWE Heavyweight Champion and main evented WrestleMania for a reason with John Cena.
Yes. I must say, you and I have kind of gone back and forth on this one. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of The Miz and whatnot, but his work that he's done recently in this feud with Ziggler, it's kind of beginning to win me over a bit. Like I said, he's a fantastic heel. Heels are designed to be where we just absolutely cannot stand them. And a lot of it about The Miz that I don't like is not necessarily him. It's the help he gets from Maurice. It's the whole, holier than thou attitude. It's some of the silly outfits that he thinks are fashionable that he wears to the ring. And then, like I said, the aiding of the guys from the Spirit Squad. So, yeah, The Miz is very, very good at what he does, and he's very effective. And Dolph Ziggler, that guy, man, I said he's just flat out amazing.
I did want to add that I also believe, as you were pointing out, is like what this whole match was about, the career versus the title. I just think the storyline build into this match just it had everybody on the edge of their seat with every pinfall. It's like with every action in that match, it's like that you were just, it's like, is this it? Is this the last time we're going to see Dolph Ziggler? Oh, is he going to stay? It's like, is he going to win the Intercontinental Championship? Back and forth. Obviously, we know when we reviewed No Mercy, I mentioned the comment by Tommy Dreamer that he thought that the match surpassed that of Macho Man and Steamboat from WrestleMania, and that's a big task right there. But all I know is the match very much delivered. It's probably one of the best matches the WWE has had since the brand split.
Yeah. It's tough for me to disagree with that. This is definitely one of the more memorable matches of 2016, and that's why it came in at the top of our list. So those are our top matches from the month of October of 2016. Please visit our official YouTube channel. You can find us by searching the No Gimmicks Podcast YouTube on Google. If you would like to receive our notifications when we release our new episodes, please subscribe to us. We would also like to hear from our viewers, so please leave us some feedback in our comments section. Also, please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at the No Gimmicks PC. Be on the lookout for my updates on my personal LinkedIn account weekly, usually on Monday afternoons. And please remember that sharing is caring. Feel free to share the links to our episodes with other pro wrestling fans and on your social media accounts as well. That does it for this episode of the No Gimmicks Podcast. For my tag team partner Dale Clifford in Fernley, Nevada, this is Todd Smith in Bristol, Connecticut signing off. Until next time around, y'all take care.